Welcome back to Fantasy Sports today here on SportsGrid. I'm Craig Mish along with George Kurtz as we dive into the daily fantasy slate this weekend. Naturally, 3 games on Saturday. There were already a couple on Wednesday and had one on Thursday too. So, George, it's not the easiest this week to find these diamonds in the rough because a lot of these guys have already played. But let's dive in here, courtesy of DraftKings. Here's some of the pricing. Justin Jefferson, 8,300 this week. He is the top priced player on that Sunday slate. A.J. Brown, 7,800, followed by Mike Evans at 7,500. Devontae Adams, who's been fantastic, 7,100. Tyreek Hill, 6,900. Brian Thomas Jr., 6,800. And then Malik Neighbors of the Giants at 6,600. Do I just roll with Devontae Adams every week, George? It feels like that's the right direction to go here. I mean, I guess last week wasn't as good, but still, he's been fantastic.
He's been great. Absolutely great here. I think he has to be a consideration, yes. Not like Buffalo has the greatest of defenses. Once again, heavy rain expected in Buffalo for this game, so just keep that in mind, everybody. But that's almost every game we're going to talk about here. Rain here. I can tell you this. I'm not starting A.J. Brown. Okay, I would pick it. You give me A.J. Brown for free, and I may not start him in this game, so I'm going to pass there. I think you really have to look at Mike Evans here. Once again, they want to get him over 1,000 yards for the season. I believe he has to average 93. I think he's 186 over the last 2. It might be 176, but it's in that range to get that over 1,000 yards. So I think they're going to throw the ball early and often to him. They're going to beat Carolina here. They're going to want to get him, as many yards as possibly can here. So I'm really going to look at Mike Evans here. We mentioned Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill, staying away from. Brian Thomas. I mean, I know it's weird that it's Mac Jones making him look like the second coming here, but he looks great. Right. Mac Jones is finding him here. Not the hardest matchup. I think you have to seriously consider him as well.
Yeah, no, he's been fantastic. All right, so second-tier players. Jerry Jeudy, doesn't really matter who the quarterback has been. He's been great, too. I wonder what he's going to be next year. I think that's a fun conversation to have. We'll do that when we wrap up the regular season. Addison, 6,300. Garrett Wilson, 6,100. Oh, Jacoby Myers sort of falling off a cliff now here with the quarterback issues with the Raiders, 6,000. Jaden Reed, is he out this week? What's his injury status? 5,900 for him. Devonta Smith, 5,800. And boy, Adam Thielen, not a bad play. Thielen, 2 of the last 3 weeks, has really shined. He's at 5,700.
Yeah, Reed is not on the injury report, so I think he plays. But does it matter? Does it matter? I mean, you're playing the game here, Reed. Dobbs, Watson's questionable with the ankles. Wicks, Kraft. Musgrave is back now. I mean, no. Outside of Josh Jacobs, don't think I want to do with Green Bay.
Chamorro?
I think if we're looking at this, if we're looking at this group here, I actually didn't hear what he said. That's why I will.
Mark Chamorro.
Mark Chamorro. Oh, there's a blast.
Remember the old Packers wide receivers through the years with Favre and even back.
Sharp.
Right after that, the super driver.
Donald Driver.
The Super Bowl years. Antonio Freeman and Robert Brooks. Those were the 2 guys.
Loved Robert Brooks. I don't know why. He was on a lot of my fantasy teams back in the day, but yes, I remember that. Back to this group, Jordan Addison, you're going to have to look at Addison. All right, there's going to be points scored in this game. All right, Minnesota, Green Bay. There's no Jair Alexander this week. I believe I see that he's probably not going to play. He's their top cornerback, which means there's no one to really stop JJ or Addison. And I think, once again, I think this could be your highest scoring game of the week. So I have no problem with Addison here. Craig, do we believe that the squeaky wheel gets the grease? Garrett Wilson complained that he's not getting the ball enough. Does this change anything? It's Aaron Rodgers. I have no idea. But Garrett Wilson might be somebody else I'd also look at here. Adam Thielen got banged up late, so I might be a little worried about him. Shakir, by the way, if you need to save some cash, he's just a good volume guy.
Yeah, really good. Yeah. He's 5,600, maybe better than the last 5 we just talked about, but we hadn't gotten there yet, so George is trying to ruin the show. No, I'm just kidding. Calvin Ridley, 5,500. Waddle, I think, may play this week, 5,400, but I'm not sure I would go that route. There's a couple of Packers there as well. As you see, the roulette of Packers receivers. Amari Cooper, we haven't called his name in a while, have we? And Cedric Tillman, 4,900. Boy, this is a list I think you hit it with Shakir. Beyond him, I don't want to get involved.
You might be able to convince me of Ridley, all right, who's also been somewhat hot here. I mean, he's more of a boomer bust guy, but you might be able to convince me. But if I wanted to stay away from this grouping here, there's actually below this a guy I like a lot, who actually really should have a monster game last week, and that'd be McMillan of Tampa Bay. All right, once again, he's a guy who I still don't know how that interception happened on the bomb where we thought he'd have that touchdown. We had a big game against Dallas. I think another big game could be coming here at Baker Mayfield this week as well, as teams pay all the attention to Mike Evans. They're all worried about Bucky Irving. You sort of forget about McMillan here. So I think he could be a sneaky little play as well if you need to save some serious cash, as he's only 4,600.
All right, so now to the running backs, and we have two stories to tell here with the running backs. First, we'll tell you the DFS story, and then George and I have to comment here on what Eric Dickerson had to say. But first, let me give you the pricing. So Barkley is the highest priced running back of the season this week. He's 8,600 this week over on DraftKings, followed by Josh Jacobs, who probably is almost, close to as good with all the touchdowns he scores, 8,100. Jonathan Taylor, 7,900. Devon A-Chain, 7,700. Alvin Kamara, got to stay away from him with the injuries. James Cook, 7,200. And by the way, nothing wrong with Chuba Hubbard at all. This guy has been great. Chuba Hubbard's going to be, second-round pick in fantasy next year? 7,000, maybe even first. 7,000 on DraftKings. But quick, before we get to Saquon Barkley, George, what do you make of these comments from Eric Dickerson, who you and I are more or less the same age. You a little bit older than me. But when I was growing up, Eric Dickerson was the man. This was the running back to not get in the way of. But, he was always different, played with the Rams, and it, wasn't good enough for him. He held out, I think, so he could go somewhere else. He ended up going to the Colts. Wasn't as good with the Colts, but still pretty good. And then he was bouncing around. He went to the Raiders, if you remember, too, at the end of his career. But he was a star, over 2,000 yards, broke the rushing record. And then he tells the LA Times he does not want Barkley winning the rushing title this year. He doesn't want it. He wants to hold it for himself. I'm glad he's honest, but I'm surprised he said that in public. Barry Sanders a few weeks ago, he said, I hope Ashton Genty breaks all of my records in college. I don't care.
I kind of applaud him for being honest, Craig. It's like, because a lot of these guys, I hope he breaks my record. Come on, really? You hope he breaks your record? No, I don't. It's like when you play poker. I'm playing poker, Craig and Sam. I go all in. Oh, good luck, Craig. Yeah, I really mean good luck. Good luck, Craig. I hope you eliminate me so I get to go home and do nothing. It's all lies here. But I'm surprised he said it publicly, as you said. Listen. Even if Saquon does break it, doesn't mean he's any better than you. Eric Dickerson was great. Absolutely great. Well, for those who don't know, he wore the neck roll, the goggles there. He was very distinctive in his play, but he was fantastic. He was big. He was strong. And once he got in the open, he was gone.
And the team wasn't really good.
No, they weren't. But he was. He was fantastic. He does deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, Craig.
Who, Dickerson?
Yeah.
He's been in there for 20
Probably
years.
Barkley, right? Too.
Yeah.
We'll see if Barkley.
All right. I think I have in this office. I think I have Eric Dickerson sign something. I don't know. I'll see if I can find it during the break. All right. Here are the other running backs. Go to the other one, Sam. Bucky Irving, 6,700. Pollard, 6,400. Breece Hall, yuck, can't do it. Doesn't look right. Aaron Jones, I could get behind, 6,200. Dowdle, 6,000. Ford, 5,900. Tyrone Tracy. Missed some practice, but he's probably going to play, 5,800 this week. My favorite one is Jones.
My favorite one, would be Bucky Irving. I've been all over him this show here. If not Irving, I think Ford could be a sneaky play, right? Miami could be a play there. Tyrone Tracy, I don't mind. I don't think it's going to be a blowout game. They will try and run the ball here, but if I'm teams, I'm stacking the box. I don't care about Drew Lock. So that's my only issue there here. Listen, I like Aaron Jones as well. Revenge game again, and I do think a ton of points are coming in that game.
And finally, the low-end running backs here. Rachaad White, 5,700. Maybe Madison is the only one on this list I'd consider at 5,600 just for the touchdown. Kendre Miller looked brutal. Tajay Spears, Etienne probably now plays over Bigsby after that big fumble for Bigsby. And then Amir Abdullah, you're not doing that. So Madison's the only one for me, and I'm counting on the touchdown.
Listen, if Pollard, he's banged up here. Spears could be a play. Once again, we're talking cheap running backs. You're trying to hit a dartboard, right? A bullseye here. I might look at Tajay Spears.
All right, fair enough. We'll take a quick timeout on Fantasy Sports Today. Don't go away.
As the candles flicker, a new tradition shines. 8 nights of Hanukkah, 8 nights of winning insights.
They may come out slow, so you might be able to get a better number. Wow, they're favored.
With SportsGrid, every night is another chance to win.
No pick sixes today, they cover. So let's crunch it up. Let's make it happen. Let's give you our favorite props.
Let your Hanukkah winnings brighten your celebrations. Happy Hanukkah from all of us at SportsGrid.
How do you find some of this great talent that you've brought in, who are still early in their career, might not have a ton of tape on them yet?
I've been around this business, man, for almost 20 years. So a lot of these guys will tell you that I popped into a lot of gyms, sparred, or just worked on the side, or, kind of worked out, just watching. I've always loved this sport, man. I think it's the greatest. And we want to continue to put on the next up-and-coming superstars. We know we got them.
Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Welcome back to Fantasy Sports. Today, we're going to take a look at more daily fantasy pricing. And keep in mind, before we do this wasteland that is tight ends, I mean, Trey McBride plays on Saturday. Travis Kelce played already. There are some key tight ends that are not on the board this week that we have to choose from. Just the nature of the schedule this week. So we do have the top guy, George, but I think everyone's going to look and say, whoa, look at this drop-off from Brock Bowers at 6,700 down to Jonnu Smith, and then even further down under 5,000. Where are all the tight ends? Well, a lot of the big ones played already, and I think that's probably why. Hawkinson, 4,500, Kincaid, 4,300, Otten, 4,200, Brenton Strange, who I thought was pretty good last week, but I think he had a big fumble at the end of the game, if I'm not mistaken, that the game ended on. He was 4,000. I have no problem starting Jonnu Smith every week. This guy's pretty untouchable.
We are pretty close to where you have no choice but to start Brock Bowers. All right. He's going to have a big game. All right. Even if he doesn't get even if he doesn't have a touchdown, he's going to get double-digit targets. He's going to catch 7-8 balls minimum, 60, 70 yards. Well, he does get a touchdown, it's 20 points. And remember, they're playing New Orleans indoors, so you're not worried about any kind of rain, any kind of bad track. I think you're almost forced to start Brock Bowers. That being said, if you do need to save the money, the only other one I would consider is Jonnu Smith. That's it. All right, he has been good, right? Jonnu's been very good here. It's a decent matchup for Cleveland here. The weather is going to be probably rainy, cold, but not brutally cold, so maybe that's good here. But I got to tell you, Craig, if there's one player, out of all the players we're going to talk about, there's one player I feel like I'm going to have to start. It's going to be Brock Bowers. I just feel like if I don't start him, I'm going to be behind the 8 ball, and I'm going to need to hit on maybe 2 other players better than somebody else.
Yeah, no, it's really tough. I mean, there just aren't a lot of options, and we'll just spend 15 seconds here going through the rest. And you tell me, is there any name on here? Maybe Ferguson now that Lamb is out, but that's debatable. Kraft, Okonkwo, I know has been more of a part of the offense. Jawan Johnson, actually the 1 week I had Jawan Johnson, he did score and then has done nothing since. Do you like any price of any player that we're looking at right there? Any? I see none. The only case I could make would be Kraft if he scores, and he scored a lot, or Ferguson getting more targets because Lamb is out, and I'm not even sure I'm buying that.
I have nothing to add here. I think you said it. And Musgrave is back, so that hurts Kraft a little bit here. Ferguson, I think he'll get targeted, as you said. Yeah, I think you can get 6 to 7 points minimum. If that's what you're looking for, great. But this is the problem with saving the money over Bowers. You're going to be 12, 13, 14 points behind already. So, no, I can't make a great case for it, but it's Ferguson would be the guy for me if you want to roll those dice.
All right. So now quarterback, here's where you have to win on Sunday here. And again, this is the Sunday slate here that we're looking in daily fantasy. So none of the players playing on Saturday eligible for this. So we do have two of the top fantasy wide receivers playing. Lamar Jackson already went, so he's not here. But Josh Allen, 8,500. I would guess he'll be very heavily owned. Jalen Hurts, 7,500, but he is unlikely to play. So it could be Kenny Pickett, who we'll talk about here in just a minute. Baker Mayfield at 6,900, Sam Darnold at 6,400, Jordan Love 62, Richardson at 59, Tua at 58. Whew. Like, if you're not using Josh Allen this week on the Sunday slate, George, I mean, I'm kind of like looking at Baker Mayfield. Like, I think I have to use Baker Mayfield here. I don't really trust any of the matchups this week.
Yeah, once again, you and I are on the same wavelength. Again, here, Baker Mayfield would be that second choice for me. I think I can make an argument for Donald or Love. All right, I think I could make that argument, but Baker's going to be my choice, dog. Has a great matchup here. We saw Baker run a lot against the Cowboys, right? Boy, be nice if he would add that to his game. Get the 30, 40 yards rushing again. That would be sweet. Nice little extra points there. But Baker be the guy I'm going to look at here as well. Josh Allen, by the way, one thing to be careful of. Buffalo's nothing to play for. All right, they're done. All right, don't get me wrong. Allen's going to play. The question
he
is,
always plays him, that guy. McDermott, he never takes him out, ever, even in those clinch situations.
And he's going to play, but if I'm McDermott, I'm telling you, Josh, you want to run, that's fine. Hey, don't put your head down and you slide. Don't take any unnecessary hits. You do take unnecessary hits, I'm pulling you. All right, there's no reason. This game doesn't mean anything. Beating the Jets, losing, winning the MVP, not winning the MVP. It's the only thing he's playing for. He's right to try and win the MVP award. Super Bowl. That's all Buffalo should be playing for, Super Bowl. You know, so they need to be very, very careful here. He'll play the entire game, but remember, he does have the fractured hand. He's got a banged up shoulder. I mean, you can make an argument here that he should be playing more than a half, 3/4, especially if he's taking hits.
Yeah, but again, he always plays. The Buffalo has clinched before, and McDermott just plays those guys for some reason. He just does it like the Chiefs. Like Reed, is going to bench everybody on the Chiefs next week against Denver, but he just does not. All right, so if it's not one of those, can we find a diamond in the rough here? Aaron Rodgers, 5,700. Bryce Young, 56. Maybe Pickett for the unknown at 55. Cooper Rush will be a no for me at 54. Carr, he's banged up. Rattler, 5,300. I probably like Mac Jones above the last three we just talked about. Not a lot of answers for me here. I mean, the Cleveland's quarterback situation is a mess too. Raiders quarterback is a mess. O'Connell, I guess. I may just take a shot with Pickett here and just see.
Pickett will be better. He'll be better. He'll have a week of practice. He'll be better. But once again, the weather here is going to be brutal here. Philadelphia is not going to be nice. They're going to want to give a lot of rushes to Barkley here, see if he can at least get close to the record. I don't think he will because Dallas will not respect Pickett. They'll try and stack the box to keep Barkley in check here. I think the guy I would look at here, Mac Jones, I don't mind, by the way. Take a look. Once again, these are all dartboards here, but Bryce Young has looked better. He ran the ball also last week for over 60 yards. They should be trailing in this game, so he should be throwing the ball quite often here. So I don't mind that. You want to go with A-Rod against Buffalo? All right. Once again, we talk about Devontae Adams. He's been good, but it seems like one touchdown to Adams and not much else. So that's one thing you got to worry about there. I think I would either go with your boy Mac Jones or I go with Bryce Young.
Okay. Well, I think I would probably just have to go Baker Mayfield if I didn't want to spend up with Josh Allen there. I really can't find any other options that I trust. But coming up next, we'll dive into the AFC and NFC playoff picture and also take a look at these Super Bowl odds, which have changed significantly. It has been more or less the Detroit Lions favored to win the Super Bowl for the entire season. But, folks, they're not the favorite, and they're not even second at this point. So we will dive into who is the leader in the clubhouse in terms of odds, and does that mean we should be looking for other options when we return next on Fantasy Sports Today?
As the candles flicker, a new tradition shines. 8 nights of Hanukkah, 8 nights of winning insights.
But they may come out slow, so you might be able to get a better number. Wow, they're favored.
With SportsGrid, every night is another chance to win.
No pick sixes today, they cover. So let's crunch it up. Let's make it happen. Let's give you our favorite props.
Let your Hanukkah winnings brighten your celebrations. Happy Hanukkah from all of us at SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I'm ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people.
You don't want them to go 13-0 and then lose the first round of the playoffs.
Red.
This is their last shot. They don't really have anywhere else to go here.
Hot take.
By the time I hit, I guess what, Route 33 up here, that ticket's cashing.
Only on SportsGrid. In the heart of winter, when nights grow long, we come together under these lights. A team, united by purpose. Fans, bound by passion. Each holding a small flicker of hope in their hands. At SportsGrid, we believe that even the darkest nights can't dim the unity we share. One team, one stadium, one shining moment. This holiday season, we shine brighter together. Happy Hanukkah from all of us at SportsGrid.
Welcome back to Fantasy Sports Today. I think a few weeks ago, George and I were talking about the playoff picture and how it's clearer than it has been in years past, with the exception of like the back end, especially in the AFC, and nothing really has changed to change that. So the right now it basically seems like Kansas City, Buffalo, Baltimore, Houston, Pittsburgh, not a lot to talk about. And then, the back end of the playoffs is sort of up in the air. Most people feel the Chargers are getting in. So it just requires Denver to win one more, get a little help. What's interesting is we talk a lot about the Dolphins, like what are their chances? No one wants to play Cincinnati. We rarely talk about the Colts. Have you noticed that, George? No one even like brings them up. Like they're just like kind of sitting out there. We always expect the unexpected. Teams do sneak in the end. And I guess for me, I probably would go with the group here in thinking that if there was one team that would surprise me on the last day of the season that would sneak in, it would be the Bengals. That would be the one team, just because they have played much better in the second half.
The problem is we all want the Bengals to get in because they're fun, right? Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, they can score 1,000 points. They're not getting in. They never were getting in. All right. Not only do they have to win, which I think they might do on, pretty good chance they'll do on Saturday against Denver. And I don't know who they played last. I think they played Pittsburgh. All right, good chance you can beat Pittsburgh. But they need Indianapolis and Miami to lose a game. Indianapolis plays the Giants this Sunday. Anybody have a Giants beat Indianapolis? I don't. And then last week of the season, Indianapolis plays Jacksonville. Okay, good luck. How is Indianapolis losing that? Miami, by the way, plays Cleveland and the Jets. So are they losing a game? Maybe. I mean, we're not talking great teams here, but by the way, Cincinnati would also need, Kansas City to beat Denver in Week 18. And you already said it. They're not playing anybody in Week 18. Maybe Mahomes plays a quarter. I mean, there's a lot that needs to happen for any of these teams. The team that's getting screwed is more the Colts than anybody else, but they have no one to blame but Jonathan Taylor. Don't drop that football at the goal line. And you might have won that game, and you'd be in the driver's seat here. Listen, none of these teams are going anywhere that I mentioned. No, they're not winning the Super Bowl, so it doesn't really matter. It's a shame. If Taylor holds on to that ball, I mean, it'd be the Colts who probably go into the playoffs here.
It could be. All right. We want to do the NFC real quick here, Sam. You want to take a look? So the NFC is different in some respects because it just feels like this is the playoffs right here. Like I don't think that anything is going to change for me other than maybe Tampa Bay winning the division and Atlanta getting the wild card. The division. That's all it's up for grabs, the division. So it feels like this is it. Like the 4 you see there, just put in either Tampa Bay or Atlanta, and this is what the playoffs are going to be. Like, please do not let Seattle make the playoffs. They're not good. Washington is a really good 7. Those other teams that we showed there, Minnesota and Green Bay, really good teams. I'm not sure that the NFC is better than the AFC, but the only thing I could see, George, I am picking this week, by the way, I'm picking Arizona. I think Arizona's got a shot to beat the Rams. They crushed them the last time they played. I don't think the Rams are that good. To me, everyone's saying, oh, the Rams are the team you don't want to play. I mean, what football are they watching? This team they have trouble scoring in half the games they play in. That's the only pivot for me, is I honestly do think Seattle could catch the Rams, because I think Arizona may go there and win this week.
But I'm glad you said that, by the way, because I feel the same way. I don't know what people see in the Rams that makes people think that this is a dangerous team. The defense is blah. I mean, you got Stafford and Puka. Kyrie Williams is good, Cooper Kupp, but outside of that, they got nothing else. If we were drafting in baseball, we'd call it the Stars and Scrubs team. Right? You got 4 stars and everybody else. So it's just, I don't see them. I don't see much damage coming here from the Rams. I think the Falcons lose this weekend, so I think the Buccaneers will win that division. And I don't think they're a threat here. This all comes down to the Lions, Eagles, Vikings, Packers. All right. And we'll see. The Eagles, I think, have as good a chance as anybody, assuming Jalen Hurts does return from the concussion, which I assume he will return next week. Detroit, Craig, so many injuries, man. So many injuries on defense. You wonder who's going to catch up to. I think they win this week. And if Minnesota were to beat Green Bay, which I think is a big if, by the way, on Sunday, that'll be a great Week 18 game for the division title and maybe the number 1 seed, Minnesota and Detroit. That'd be a wow game. That would be for the number 1 seed here. That could be one hell of a game there. And the Packers are a threat as well here. So it's the 3 teams in the AFC North and the Philadelphia Eagles. That's in my mind, that's the NFC. Everyone else just playing for second place.
Yeah, the Chiefs are the favorites right now. Kansas City's the favorite to win the Super Bowl at plus 360, but that's because they already have 1 game in the bank from playing on Christmas Day. If the Lions were to win this week, it probably would be even between those 2 teams. We'll be back with more fantasy sports today. Don't go away.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The 2 guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back to Fantasy Sports today on SportsGrid. Craig Mish along with George Kurtz. Has there been a slate, George, on a Saturday with 3 games? I don't remember this ever. Is this the first ever?
Boy, I can't remember if there's been a bunch, or maybe there was in the past. The NFL loves to just take everything
3?
over here. So there's
always.
definitely been 2. They've had 2 forever.
I do not remember 3
I don't remember a night game. I was a little bit surprised, by the way, that
I never ever remember a 3-game Saturday NFL slate. And when we were younger, it started to become 1. It was like 1 game, and then it became 2. I don't ever remember 3, but that's where we're at today. So I digress. We don't even have time to even talk about this. We got to go through the games. Chargers and Patriots, championship week. Very few options that you probably have that have gotten you to this point that you can actually consider in this game. I'm going to guess, George, championship teams start a maximum of 1 player between both of these 2 teams.
I might take the under on that.
Maybe.
I just
maybe.
Boy, you're not starting her. I mean, as far as you're not starting her, at least I hope you're not. Gus is out. We don't think Dobbs. I'm not sure he's going to be activated. McConkey might be that guy. Disley's questionable. New England. Good luck to you. All right. So it's probably McConkey or bust for anybody out there, but it is not much here. LA wins.
No, maybe. I don't know about that. Broncos, Bengals this week for your fantasy football championship. I would assume that some teams have Jamar Chase. He's been awesome this year. So fire him up. Running backs, both sides, bad on Denver, Cincinnati, Chase Brown. So Chase is probably the main one here. Maybe some team had Burrow getting to the championship. I suppose that's possible. Maybe Bo Nix is possible. But the game itself should be good.
The game's interesting at the very least here. I imagine quite a few teams had Joe Burrow, by the way. He was fantastic. But he might be your MVP if they would have won a few more games. Burrow, Chase Brown, Jamar Chase. I got to tell you, Craig, T. Higgins, can you stay healthy for more than a game? I mean, he's banged up again, although they think he probably will play here. But, man, this guy's always hurt. Good luck to a team that gives him that big deal, and someone will. I know Joe Burrow thinks it'll be Cincinnati. Good luck with that. You mentioned Bo Nix. Nothing with the running game here. Courtland Sutton's calmed down a little bit lately as well here, but I can see him being a starter for some teams as well.
All right, so this is my upset special of the week. I'm going to take the Cardinals over the Rams. Cardinals starters could easily be James Conner. He's had a fantastic year. I doubt you have Harrison starting or any of their receivers. Maybe McBride could be in the spot for you. I'm guessing some championship teams have Puka Nacua on their roster. Boy, Cooper Kupp, I don't even know how you can even start him at this point. Best player on both sides? Actually, both running backs on both sides could have gotten you to the championship. Kyron Williams, James Conner, RB1s through and through.
Absolutely here. I'd rather not start Kyler Murray. I've been complaining for quite a few weeks now. He just doesn't run the ball. They don't have to design runs for him. He doesn't want to run, whatever it is here. He did had a big touchdown run last week. When he does that, they're dangerous. When he does it, they're not. James Conner, yeah, I'll start him. Marvin Harrison, no. Trey McBride, yes. Nakua is a definite yes. Stafford, probably, because it's Arizona. And he's playing in LA, so I'm not worried about the rain, but I'd be a little bit afraid there. Cup is the same thing. I can see him being your flex guy. So I think there's going to be some points scored in this game.
Yeah, Kupp was my big letdown this year. I guess I'll have to reevaluate in the offseason. All right, Cowboys, Eagles. We know 2 key players out of this one, Jalen Hurts and CeeDee Lamb. So it becomes tough. George illustrated earlier, he doesn't think you'd start anybody. I still think if Rico Dowdle got you here, I think he's your RB2 and he's starting again in this game. Saquon Barkley is rock solid. You said no A.J. Brown, right? No, all the receivers there?
I don't know if I'm going to assume. Now, Hurts is not out. We think he's not going to play, but he's not out yet. Assuming he is out, which we assume he is. I'm trying to think. Barkley, yes. I'd rather not start either receiver. I don't trust Pickett. Pickett will be better. All right, he'll be better, but I don't know if he'll be good. I think there's other directions you can go here. But for fantasy, you may not have a choice. But boy, I think he'd be. I'm not seeing big games coming from here. I think it's gonna be an ugly game, by the way, Greg. Just an ugly. I think Philadelphia wins, but an ugly game, 20-13, something silly like that. Here, I am not starting Dowdle. Philadelphia's run defense is excellent. Dallas will try and establish the run, no doubt. But man, I think it's gonna be ugly for the Cowboys. You're gonna need Dowdle to somehow fall into the end zone, which he hasn't been very good at all season long. Even last week, they stole a touchdown from Dowdle by Zeke Elliott. Comes in out of nowhere. Like if I was a Dowdle guy, I'd have been bouncing off these Wolves.
Panthers, Buccaneers. Again, they're both running backs are championship starters this week. Chuba Hubbard absolutely is. Bucky Irving absolutely is. Tampa Bay, as we talked about earlier, it does feel like Tampa Bay is going to get Mike Evans his touches, his yards, so he's a championship starter at wide receiver. Baker Mayfield is a championship starter at quarterback. Who did I miss?
I'm not so sure you missed anybody. All right. Adam Thielen and McMillan, they could be sneaky plays here. I do think points are coming up on the board in this game as well. Bryce Young has been good here. I'm not Kate Otton's out anyway, not starting him. Like I said, Thielen and the McMillan will be sneaky flex plays here. I probably lean more towards McMillan than Thielen.
All right. Now the Jets and the Bills, actually some, George keeps mentioning the weather, but still, I still think you consider your main options. So Josh Allen, of course, rock solid. We talked about James Cook, Shahir. Those are in. And for the Jets, I don't think that you could start Wilson, but Devontae Adams has been as steady as any wide receiver in fantasy the last month. It feels like Aaron Rodgers woke up and was like, you know what? I got to get this guy the ball a lot more often. I'm also here to tell you, George, I think you may have better options in Breece Hall. I've watched him play the last couple of weeks. I know they're playing him. He does not look right to me, man. If I had, Bucky Irving as an example, I think I'd start him over Breece Hall. I'm concerned that he's not 100%.
Oh, so would I, by the way. If I had Irving Hall, that's my choice. I think Irving's an easy choice. I don't even think it's close. It's a shame because Hall is a great running back, but I think he is banged up with the knee. He mentioned that, he may not be playing if not for, that he wants to be out there, but maybe he shouldn't be out there, that sort of thing there. But I don't know if you have better than him. I just don't know if you do, so you may have to go there. Other than that, you named all the players here. I can't believe, by the way, if you made it this far and you have Garrett Wilson on your team, which is probably a second-round pick, and you're not wrong, you may have to think about sitting him. That's just sad.
All right. Colts and Giants. Oof. All right. Now we've reached that portion of the program. Jonathan Taylor, yes. Tyrone Tracy is a flex if you have to. Neighbors if you have to. He's a great player, just not doing anything. Under 1.5 players I got starting in this game in the championship.
I would take the over here because Taylor's a definite, and people are going to start either Neighbors or Tracy. All right, so I think it's going to be 2. So that's a tough overrun because 2.5 you would take. I think I might have to make it a flat 2. All right, then we'll do some pushes here. Taylor's a must. Neighbors, Tracy, if you have to, I understand it, but your upside is limited.
All right, Raiders and Saints. Raiders, other than Brock Bowers, now a 0. We're down to 0, even with O'Connell. Saints, 0. Can you name a Saint? I can't even name one.
I could see, once again, I'm going to assume Kamara's out. All right. I can see Kendre Miller. You're desperate. You had Kamara. There's no one else out there in the waiver wire. You got to throw some. The Raiders suck. They have some great rush defense. I don't want to. I assume you got eliminated on Monday night with Kendre Miller.
I would guess the Saints, by the way, usually when this happens, teams are really good offensively the next week, unlike the Bears. But I think the Saints may score some points this week, so I agree with you there. Same thing in this Titans-Jaguars game. Why not, right? Just go all out. Brian Thomas, yes. The tight end we talked about, maybe Strange is a possibility. Tennessee is really hard to figure who's going to do what every week. Tennessee was down 30 in the first 5 minutes, then they came all the way back. But then I looked at the fantasy numbers; they weren't even great for a lot of the players.
Ridley is someone I would look at here. I don't want to, but I would look at. Spears is playing more than Pollard of late. Pollard's banged up, and he's still banged up, by the way. So maybe that's somebody, but there's likely to be some kind of, where they're both going to split the carries here with touches, and you're not going to be happy either way.
All right, we'll get to Dolphins, Browns, Packers, Vikings, Falcons, Commanders, and then we'll play a little buy or sell here on Fantasy Sports Today. Next.
In the heart of winter, when nights grow long, we come together under these lights. A team, united by purpose. Fans bound by passion. each holding a small flicker of hope in their hands. At SportsGrid, we believe that even the darkest nights can't dim the unity we share. One team, one stadium, one shining moment. This holiday season, we shine brighter together. Happy Hanukkah from all of us at SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Blocked well and tries to cut through the middle. Oh!
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Welcome back to Fantasy Sports Today here on SportsGrid. Our team previews continue. Dolphins are taking on the Browns in Cleveland. George, this is not going to be an easy game for the Dolphins. I know the weather is better than what it normally is in Cleveland this time of the year. I am telling you now, this is going to be a close game. The Bengals and Browns last week was a close game. I know the score didn't indicate that. They had chased down the sideline at the end of the game. I have to start Jalen Waddle in my this one league I'm playing in. I have no choice. Interesting choice I made, by the way, on Christmas Day. I opted to sit Hopkins and take a chance that Waddle would play. Now, why am I playing Waddle? Georgie's the last guy on my roster to play. It's not like he's my wide receiver 1 or 2 or 3. He's like my flex 5. But I'm going to play him. I don't feel great about it. Cleveland, I don't feel great about anybody except Jerry Jeudy, maybe Jerome Ford. I have a feeling we're in for a very similar game to what we saw last week between Cincinnati and Cleveland. Cincinnati's offense better than Miami, but somehow Dolphins 6.5-point favorites in this game. I don't know. I'm seeing a close one here.
I think you're probably right. I think it's going to be a bad game. Once again, another 2017, 20-4. I mean, just slog. Because we're playing the rain and all that here. I'm not starting Jerry Jeudy, by the way. I said that last week. It's Dorian Thompson. No. Right. Yeah. Nobody in the pass game goes. The Joku's out anyway, so you're saved there. Jerome Ford, I think, is an interesting flex guy there, but once again, upside likely limited here. And by the way, if you started Ford last week, how angry were you? He had the big run, right? 60-something yards, gets down inside the 5, and then, hey, let's give it to the backup running back. For the touchdown. It got called back anyway, but that was frustrating. On Miami, Achane is probably the guy I like best. I think he's going to have a big game. Tyreek Hill, he's a borderline starter. Waddle's a no. Janu Smith, that you and I both like.
Yeah, Tyreek
he dropped at least one touchdown last week, maybe
Weird.
2.
Weird. Packers-Vikings, this is an easy one because we got a lot of starters here. Championship week, Josh Jacobs is a championship running back. Aaron Jones is a championship running back. Jefferson's a championship receiver. Addison is a championship receiver. I think I'll probably stop there. Jordan Love, maybe you're starting Love at quarterback. Maybe you're starting Sam Darnold at quarterback. You certainly are starting the kickers in this game too. This is going to be a very hot play, I think, going into the weekend.
Wow, a little kicker talk here. And who used to be the kicker for Green Bay?
Anders.
His name. Anders, there it is. Anders Carlson.
I can't believe he got cut.
We got to get.
Anders Carlson, did you see the field goals he tried to kick last week? He was literally in the middle, and he just kicked it like straight to the left every time.
Kick it straight. I did see it.
Come on,
Anybody
man.
looking for a Hanukkah gift for Craig, by the way, an Anders Carlson jersey would be fantastic.
Please do not do that.
All
Get
right.
me something better than that. Please. Anything else
on this show? Listen, if you have a Packer, you have a Viking, you're probably starting outside of the Packers wide receivers, right? Good luck there. That's like I said, Watson, Dobbs, Wicks, Reed. Watson's questionable with the ankle. Everybody else or hamstring. It's just good luck. You don't know who's going to be the guy that week, and I don't want to touch their tight ends either, Kraft and Musgrave, but everybody else goes.
All right, last one. Falcons Commanders, high total on the board this week between these two teams. Daniels is a 100% lock to start in championship week if you got there. Same with McLaurin. Probably the same with Brian Robinson. And beyond that, over on the Falcons side, a little bit different. I'm not really sure what we saw last week, so I don't know what to expect this week. But, I mean, I guess Drake London could potentially be a starter for you. Of course, Bijan Robinson. If you drafted him and somehow you got to the championship with him, so be it. He starts this week. But we're going to get some other performances. You hit it earlier with some maybe extra guys that we're not talking about being a part of the factor this week.
Brian Robinson, you're killing me. Killing me. Can you score some points, please? All right, here he goes. Bijan's been great. You named it, though. Atlanta's a problem. I don't know what Penix is going to do. I think they're going to be behind. So Mooney and London are going to get their shots. I'm not doing Kyle Pitts. I'm done. They're certainly not starting Penix here. Daniels obviously goes. McLaurin goes here. I think Washington wins this game. I think this smells like a 31-17 game to me for the Commanders.
All right, fair enough. Time now to play a little buy or sell. Let's start off with the Super Bowl. We'll probably change our opinion on this several times between now and February. The Kansas City Chiefs, George, will win their third straight Super Bowl. Are you buying or selling?
They do seem to be hitting their stride. All right, they get now, 3.5 weeks off here, get everybody healthy. Mahomes the ankle, Kelsey gets the rest. Chris Jones, who missed that game on Christmas, now he gets the rest up. He's an extremely important part of that defense. So they're looking good. They're covering spreads now, something they weren't doing. Now they're actually winning legitimate games. That being said, that offensive line is still bad. All right, and I think there'll be teams that take advantage of that. No, I'm selling. I'm selling here. All right. I don't think they're the best team in the AFC, or I certainly don't think they're better than the teams in the NFC as well. Well, no, I don't even think they get there. I think they get to the championship game, and that's as far as they go.
I don't even care if I believe this or not. I'm selling. I do not want to see this. I do not want to see the Chiefs win again. This has not been a fun year watching them. They've gotten lucky. They've gotten some calls. No, please somebody else. If they get to the Super Bowl, I can live with it because it makes the average person more interested in the Super Bowl. That's good for us, but to win it, no. All right, what is the receiving triple crown? Jamar Chase will win the receiving triple crown this season. Yards, receptions, and touchdowns. George, you going to buy or sell this? I think he's definitely going to win yards, right? Like that's a lock, but how about the other two?
My worry is this. He's going to be right there with all of this. But remember, he's going to go against Patrick Surtain on Saturday. Now, they could try and avoid him here, all right, and see what happens. I'm going to sell this. I'm going to say, listen, he's great. He's going to have a lot of great numbers here, but I'm going to say, no, he won't get the receiver crown. Maybe 2 out of 3 here. He'll just miss. He'll do a little Aaron Judge. He won't get the average.
All right, I'll play the buy. I'll play the buy card just to play something different in the end, and he was my best player in fantasy this year, so I'll say buy there. I'm going to skip ahead, Sam, to the last one, the running back here. Bucky Irving, who's been fantastic for Tampa Bay, will be a top 8 running back in drafts next season. Is this buy or sell?
Assuming everybody comes back, Godwin, Evans, Mayfield, I see no reason why they wouldn't. I'm going to buy this, Craig. I'm going to buy. I think Bucky Irving is going to be that guy. It's a heavy passing offense, lots of touchdowns. Buy.
All right, we agree on 2 out of 3. I'll say buy also with Bucky Irving, top 8 running back in drafts next season. He's a second-round pick in fantasy. We got one more segment to go. We'll do it for you next.
As the candles flicker A new tradition shines. 8 nights of Hanukkah, 8 nights of winning insights.
Like, they may come out slow, so you might be able to get a better number. Wow, they're favored.
With SportsGrid, every night is another chance to win.
No pick sixes today, they cover. So let's crunch it up. Let's make it happen. Let's give you our favorite props.
Let your Hanukkah winnings brighten your celebrations. Happy Hanukkah from all of us at SportsGrid.
How do you find some of this great talent that you've brought in, who are still early in their career, might not have a ton of tape on them yet?
I've been around this business, man, for almost 20 years. So a lot of these guys will tell you that I popped into a lot of gyms, sparred, or just worked on the side, or, kind of worked out, just watching. I've always loved this sport, man. I think it's the greatest. And we want to continue to put on the next up-and-coming superstars. We know we got them.
Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
I can't believe it's our last fantasy football show of 2024. Kind of crazy. New Year's Eve is coming. We just got through the holidays, and now the new year is here, George. And, neither of us look like we're going to win a championship in 2024. I won. Well, Sam's got a shot. Okay. So Sam's got a shot to win. So that's cool. At least one of us will end up winning a championship. But, George, so much luck factors into this stuff. And for me, I get to this point in the season in fantasy, and I know we're going to do it here on the show as well, is that I am still super locked into football, but I got one eye now. Usually it happens right around the wild card week, sort of peeking toward baseball a little bit. Once we hit January, that's when I every weekend I'm watching football, but I start to take a look into baseball very soon.
I've actually done a couple of mock drafts for fellow site that I do for, and for my home league, it's a keeper league. I'm already looking, Craig. Okay,
it's time. Yeah,
McClanahan, Alcantara. I took these guys late. Where am I picking? I might get Judge or Witt at second pick overall. So yeah, I look at baseball too. Love football, and I always will. All right, but you said there's in 9 leagues, only one is still going. The points league here. I'm not going to win that. I'm going to finish second. At least I'm pretty sure I am. So there
Who's
is
the number
that.
one pick?
So Sam is going to
baseball. Who's the number one pick?
I think it's going to be Ohtani, right?
Every year?
It's going to be Ohtani. I think it is. I think they're going to go to a 6-man rotation, so that helps a little bit here. If you're worried about, about him sitting when he pitches, and I don't think he will anyway. So I think it's Ohtani. I think the bigger question, Craig, is 2, Judge or Witt at number 2.
I would take Witt, but I would be very happy taking Acuna a little bit later. I think Acuna is going to bounce.
He's not going to start the season though. That's where he goes is very interesting.
I still want him.
That's a really interesting.
I don't know. I've seen some reports.
It was a great last season. He may not run. I don't know.
I don't know. Okay. Anyway, let me give you the schedule coming up today on the grid. We've got college football today with Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, and Joe Lisi, followed by in-game live game day with Joe Ranieri and Cam Stewart. Lots of college football and pro football on this Saturday. In-game live game day with Scott Wetzel and Joe Madden. Sorry for leaning in. And then in-game live game day with Adam Kaufman and Brady Cannon. That's our schedule coming up a little bit later today here on SportsGrid. But it is our final SportsGrid 60, our final 60 seconds of commentary on this show for the end of 2024. So let's see what the Grinch, George, has in store for us. Here is the Sports Grid 60.
You know, I was thinking about being nice and thanking everybody for watching the show and hoping you had a great fantasy season. And Craig's calling me a Grinch. So you know what? Screw it. The Cowboys are going to keep McCarthy. All right? They're going to. You can hear all the hints that Jerry Jones is throwing at you. Oh, because they won a couple of games at the end of the season here. He's all happy about it because the team is trying hard. And they are, granted. McCarthy runs an antiquated offense here. That's not going to change next year. Zim is going to stay. I understand the Cowboys have had 8,000 injuries, and they probably would have been a better team. But when they were healthier, they were awful, right? They lost, every home game. I said, Jerry Jones, all he wants is a puppet. That's all he wants, a puppet. McCarthy is that. McCarthy lets him do whatever he wants. Let Jerry Jones have the news conference at the end here. We talked earlier, Craig and I, about the Giants. Should they get rid of Dable? Because I don't know how you can sell. I just don't know how you can sell to Giant fans that Dable and Shen are coming back. Jerry Jones, he knows the Cowboy fans are coming back, right? Doesn't matter. The merchandise gets bought here. The Cowboys got to go to the games, or they can sell their tickets on the secondary market to the opposing teams because they'll go to Dallas, go see Jerry's World and all that. And nothing ever changes.
A new tradition shines. 8 nights of Hanukkah. 8 nights of winning insights.
They may come out slow, so you might be able to get a better number. Wow, they're favored.
With SportsGrid, every night is another chance to win.
No pick sixes today, they cover. So let's crunch it up. Let's make it happen. Let's give you our favorite props.
Let your Hanukkah winnings brighten your celebrations. Happy Hanukkah from all of us at SportsGrid.
How do you find some of this great talent that you've brought in, who are still early in their career, might not have a ton of tape on them yet?
I've been around this business, man, for almost 20 years. So a lot of these guys will tell you that I popped into a lot of gyms, sparred or just worked on the side or, kind of worked out, just watching. I've always loved this sport, man. I think it's the greatest. And we want to continue to put on the next up-and-coming superstars. We know we got them.
Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on Sports.
Let's go! The holiday season does not stop. It just continues to give. As we welcome you to the College Football Today Bowl Bonanza, live right here on this final Saturday of 2024 on SportsGrid. He is the mastermind of the college football pigskin. That is Joe Lisi. He is OK Dubs. That is Kevin Walsh. And I am Ben Stevens. We hope you had a lovely Christmas week. You have enjoyed this holiday season, and you have enjoyed all that bowl season has given us. Sure, the college football playoff in the opening round, a weekend ago, as we will break down here on this CFT Bowl Bonanza, was a snoozer in most spots, but bowl season, Lacey Guy, has delivered high-scoring affairs. Not 2, not 5, 6 overtime games that we have seen, and we have 8 bowl games to get you set for on this Saturday. And we also look forward to just a few days from now in the quarterfinal round of the college football playoff.
Oh, nothing better than this. The games over the past few days went right down to the wire. There was parity, great contest in terms of the bowl matchups. We saw the game last night, Texas A&M and USC to end it for the week. I mean, dynamic performances, 8 bowl games today, Kev. And then the calm before the storm in terms of the semifinal playoff games. 4 great matchups. We'll see how it plays out a little bit later.